Till now, we have seen how we can create and modify the structure of database and its objects. Those clauses used to come under DDL language. Now let's see some DML clauses in details, in which we'll cover the insertion of data in tables, how we can update that data or delete it. First, let's see how we can insert the data into the tables. To insert any row into a table, first keep the required database in action using the use clause. And run it. Now the store database is in action. Now let's see the syntax of insert operation. To insert any row into a table, we have to use insert into the table name, then the columns of the table, let's say column 1, column 2, column 3, and so on. And then we have to use the values that we are going to add inside those columns. Let's see, the values are v1, v2, v3, and so on. So this is the basic syntax of insert operation. You can simply understand it that we want to insert these values inside the columns of this table. Now let's look at one example to make it more clear. So first, let's check if we have any data inside that table. Simply do select star from customer table and run it. As you can see, we don't have any data inside that customer table. And to check the columns and its data types, simply do the describe of customer table and run it, and you'll see the name of the columns and its data type, because according to the data types of a column you have to include the values. Now let's insert some rows into the customer table. Simply type insert into the table name is customer, then the columns are ID, first name, last name, gender, and phone number. And the values would be, let's say the ID is 1, and the first name is, let's say, Sikha, and the last name is Singh. Gender is female, so type F, and the phone number is also varchar type, so you have to insert it as a string inside that column. So let's say the phone number is 2040. We are just taking an example, so we can type anything that we want. Now simply put the semicolon and run this particular code. Okay, so this particular row has been inserted into the customer table. Now simply run this, select customer table again. As you can see, this row has been successfully inserted into that table as we expected. Now let's insert few more columns into that table. So simply copy this whole code and paste it again. Now let's update this these values. So say ID is 2. Now the name is Scott and last name is Heinz, and he is male, and his contact number is 3040. Now let's run it again, and it has been added into the table as well. Just to verify, simply run this particular code again, and as you can see, there are 2 rows that we have inserted into that table. Now you must be wondering that it's too time consuming. To add a single row, we have to type the same code again and again, and just to avoid that, let's say we have a few columns that we need to include into the tables at once. So instead of writing down the whole code from insert clause till values, we don't have to do that. Okay, just to include all the rows at once, we can simply use the insert operation at once. Let me show you. So let's say we have this insert into customer ID. The column names would be same. Now let's say we have values as 3 and the name is Nate and last name is Kramer. He is also male and his contact number is 3140. And now we have another row that we need to include in the same table as well. So simply type a comma and add another values that you want to add. Simply add 4, ID is 4 and the name is Dane. First name is Dane and last name is Jones. She is female and her contact number is 4121. Now run this code and you will see that both the rows will be added into the table at once. Okay, now simply run this customer table again, and as you can see that the row 3 and 4 has been added to the table. So we have seen how we can like insert the data into the tables. Now let's see how we can update the data in a table. So the syntax for that would be update the table name, and then we have to set a new value into a column of it could be a single cell of a column or the whole column. It depends on the where clause that we are setting. So simply type set column name, set the value in a of a column name. It would be a new value that we are adding, and in the where clause we'll again use the column name based on which we are updating that value. It would be an existing value. Let's see one example so that it could be more clear to us. So as you can see that we have this table in which we have added few data. Okay, now let's see, we want to change the contact number of Scott. Okay, how we'll do that? So we'll use the update clause, then the table name which is customer, and now we have to set a new value. So for that we'll use the column name. So we need to set the new value of which column? It's the phone number. So the column name would be phone number, and the new value is, let's say we want to change the contact number from 30402 to 5136. Let's say we want to change the phone number of Scott to this one. Put the condition of where clause that we want to change the phone number for Scott only. So we have to provide that. So either we can say that the first name, where the first name is Scott, this would work, or else since this first name is not the primary key in this case, there could be multiple Scott. So phone number will be changed for all the Scots that are available in our table. So instead of that we can simply use the ID column, because that is the primary key of a table. So if we want to change the phone number of Scott where the ID is 2, then we'll simply use the where clause where ID is equals to 2, and if you run it, it will change the phone number of this row only, row second only. Simply run it. Okay, so it has been changed. Now run this customer table again, and as you can see the contact number of Scott has been changed from 30402 to 5136. So this is how we can use the update clause to update any particular columns or its values based on a where condition. Now the last thing that we want to discuss is that how we can delete the rows from a table. So let's see, let's look at the customer table first. Okay, so we have four different rows in our customer table. To delete any row, specific row or a set of rows from a table, we can write the delete clause, and the syntax for that would be delete from table name and the where condition. So this would be our syntax for that. Now, before deleting any rows from a table, we have to disable the safe mode into SQL. To disable that, we can simply write SQL set SQL safe updates equals to false and run it. Okay, so it has been disabled. Now you can delete the rows that you want to delete from your table. Let's look at the table again. So we have four rows. So let's say I want to delete all the rows related to the female customer from my table. And how we'll do that? Simply type delete from customer tables where the gender is equals to F. So this is the condition. Using this condition, we will delete both the rows from our table. Simply run this code and it has been ran. Let's check the table again. As you can see, both the rows has been deleted from our table. So I hope you have understand how we can insert, delete and update the data from our tables. So just create one table, add some values to it and play around with it, and you will get a better understanding of these clauses and these where conditions as much as you will practice. If you have any queries, like, do comment it out. Like, I'm happy to help, and I hope you like the session. See you in the next one. Thank you.